Welcome. This is where we get to talk and debate about all things paranormal, strange, and just plain weird. And from time to time, we're going to have special guests joining us, those who investigate ghosts and haunted houses, chase Bigfoot, hunt UFOs, discover metaphysical mysteries, or uncover the truth surrounding urban legends and myths. I am Jackie Meter, Director of Central California Paranormal Investigators, and here with me is my co-host and partner, sensitive healer and Reiki Master of Sacred Light Reiki, Krista Erickson.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Yeah. How was your weekend?
It was good. It was good.
Yeah, you're training. You're training for your hike, your climb.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you also told me a little tidbit about you're going to be you just started registered for school.
Yes.
For
going back into school to become a health coach.
Yes. Yeah. I find that fascinating.
Yeah, thank
You'd
you.
be so good at that.
You know, it's great because the difference between a coach and like a therapist is that a therapist has to be nice.
A life coach doesn't? Tough love? Is that tough love?
Right.
Well, I think you're already empathic, sensitive anyway, so yeah. I think that will definitely be a help in doing your life coach thing.
Yeah, you know, I'm really looking forward to it. I think that it'll kind of give me that last piece of my practice that I'm missing, and I hope to learn a lot from it for myself. I'm going to be my first client, so. Well, shall we get to it?
Oh yes.
Okay, let's get to it.
We're going to be talking about The Walking Dead.
Ooh, okay. All right. Well, first up, we have our In the News segment. So, in honor of the new TV show Fear the Walking Dead, which is the kind of I don't want to say sequel because it actually happens at the same time as The Walking Dead time-wise, right?
Right.
It actually happens before it, so it's kind of a...
Is it? Are you sure? Doesn't it happen at the same time? I'm not sure.
From what I understand, Fear the Walking Dead starts at the beginning of the zombie outbreak.
So you're saying that it starts on the West Coast first?
Right. Right.
And then The Walking Dead is on the East Coast,
exactly.
So it travels east.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that.
But anyway, so this is going to premiere on August 23rd, correct?
Yes.
And the and then the actual Walking Dead returns on October 11th. Now, we came across an article in Popular Archaeological Magazine titled, I love this, Walking Dead Among the Ancient Greeks.
Right up your alley.
Right up my alley, I know. So it seems that archaeologists have uncovered evidence that the ancient Greeks believed that the dead could rise from their graves. University of Pittsburgh postdoctoral fellow and writer Carrie Saluski, I believe is how you say that, Saluski Weaver, examines and summarizes the evidence that supports the suggestion that the ancient Greeks believed in the undead, or what they call the revenant.
Revenants, yeah, I've heard that word before.
Revenant. It's French, so you don't pronounce the end
Revenant.
consonant. Revenant.
Oh,
Revenant.
Excuse me. Okay.
I have a lot of French speakers in my family,
Point taken. Point taken.
So, and what that means is a revenant is just someone who has returned supposedly from the dead. So it's a word that stems from the wars, when people were presumed dead from wars and they came back, they were revenants. So. But anyway, so they would emerge from a state of death to something that was neither living nor dead, leaving their graves at night to harm the living. And she went on to elaborate on finds unearthed in the Paso, let me see if I pronounce this right, Paso Marinano?
I think that's close.
Okay.
I think that's close.
Which is a cemetery that's located near the ancient coastal Greek town of Camarina, and this is in southern Sicily. And it was in use from about the 5th through the 3rd centuries BCE. Now BCE is before Common Era, which basically is like...
that's what that means.
Yeah.
I wonder what it was.
Yeah. We don't use
before Christ.
AD and before Christ because that's a religious term. The scientific terms is Common Era, so CE, and before Common Era.
Okay.
Now, while most of the graves contain such things as terracotta vases, figurines, metal coins, which is pretty common, but there was a tomb. They designated it number 653, and in it was a person who had suffered from serious malnutrition and illness throughout their entire life. And they can tell all of this through the bones and the decomp of the tissue. But in death, the head and the feet were completely covered by large amphora, or urn fragments, that were intended to pin the individual to the grave. and prevent them from, from seeing or rising. So amphora are these huge, extremely heavy ceramic vessels. They usually stand about
Right.
4 or 5 feet high.
Right. Like an urn. It's a moderate, but a bigger.
Yeah, and it has a pointy end.
Yeah.
And usually it's used to carry wine. That was the main purpose
Right.
of it. But extremely heavy ceramic.
Big wine drinkers.
Yeah. Now, in another tomb, which they designated number 693, it contained the remains of a child who was about 8 to 13 years old. And this child was buried with 5 large stones placed on top of the body in order to trap the body in its grave. So we got 2 cases within the same cemetery. And ancient documents and other archaeological records throughout the Mediterranean world, from the Neolithic through the 19th century CE, tend to lend support to the Camarina burials as possible revenant, while there is no clear indicators as to why the occupants of these 2 graves required special treatment, I guess we could call it. It does suggest that necrophobic beliefs and practices, which is the irrational fear of the dead, were present in Greek Sicily. Obviously, this creates more questions than answers. And it's hoped that with careful examination of the future excavations that we'll get more information on this.
I hope so.
So now I do know that at that time, the belief of the living dead was very common. Like, they wouldn't even consider it folklore or myth. I mean, that was just a belief within Greek society that people, once they passed on, that they could be reanimated and come to life. It was just part of their society.
You know, and I have been reading places in other parts of Europe where they're uncovering graves and they're finding stones on top of the skeletons. But they're saying those were vampires and to keep them from rising, so I was surprised when they alluded to the undead here in Greek culture, that it was the same, almost the same, I don't know what to call it, burial rite that they had, say, in Romania, Yugoslavia, all the other places.
Right.
But
well, no, and they're calling it the undead, but when you look at that word undead, a vampire could be considered undead.
Right.
A zombie could be considered undead.
Right.
So maybe there's something lost in the translation.
well, maybe vampire sucks blood, undead eats flesh. So
Right.
Supposedly.
And I know with the vampirial burials, they would usually stick a brick in the jaw
Yeah.
of the dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd
Like they
shove a
couldn't-
brick
they
in there
couldn't
so they
remove
couldn't
it.
bite or something. Yeah.
Like they couldn't move it out of. Okay, whatever.
I know. But anyway, if you want to read more about it, there's a detailed article by Weaver called The Walking Dead and Vengeful Spirits. It was published in the summer 2015 issue of Popular Archaeological Magazine. It's actually an online magazine. You can read, I think, part of the article for free. But to get access to their entire site, it's like $9 a year. It's super affordable.
Yeah, very affordable. If you're interested in archaeology, like I am, so especially Egyptology, I'm very. And of course, we have our archaeology major over here, so But
Once
anyway,
upon a time.
fascinating. It's fascinating.
It is. It's very fascinating.
Fascinating
so
stuff. Really
I love it.
fascinating. I like it. I like
Me
it.
too.
Considered one of the most haunted places in the U.S., the Queen Mary is a floating hotel in Long Beach, California, and a ghost hunter's dream. Where else can you interact with 150 ghosts lurking throughout the ship? For 3 years, the Grand Ocean liner hosted the world's rich and famous across the Atlantic. But when World War II broke out in 1939, she was immediately transformed into a troop ship that would become known as the Gray Ghost. After her war service in almost every single major Allied campaign, she was transformed again into a luxury liner. So it comes as no surprise that spectral spirits of her vivid past continue to walk within her rooms and hallways. Before I introduce our guest, let me tell you a little about her. She is the founder and director of the well-respected San Diego Paranormal Research Society since 2009 and serves as the team's electronic voice phenomena specialist and historical locations case manager. She resides in San Diego, California, is a published author, teaches classes on paranormal investigating techniques, appeared on local radio and TV shows, been featured on the Travel Channel's Ghost Stories, My Ghost Story on the Biography Channel, and is currently the Ghost Research Society's Southern California Area Research Director, headed by Dale Kaczmarek, a renowned paranormal research investigator. Her favorite place to conduct ghost research is at the legendary RMS Queen Mary. She has spent countless hours on the ship, gathering paranormal evidence, participating in research projects, and studying the Mary's unprecedented history. Her 2010 published book, The Haunted Queen of the Seas, The Living Legend of the RMS Queen Mary, continues to be one of the ship's most popular books. Here to tell us all about her paranormal journey via Skype is the Ghost Girl and New York Jets fan, Nicole Strickland. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi.
I'm
Thank
so
you for
glad you're
having me
here.
on. Me too. Well, I mean, we're talking through computers here. It's great. Thank you so much for having me on. How
I
are you
know.
doing today?
Yeah, and it's been such a long time since I've seen you because I met you first in 2008 at the seminar, and then it's
Yes.
like we've kind of corresponded over the years, and it's like, yeah, I just can't imagine all the things that you've done in that short time. You've
I
been a
know.
busy lady.
I know. Well, you too, with your tours and all the events that you do up in the Fresno area.
Yeah,
I
but we're not talking about me. We're talking about you.
I just wanted to put that out there. Just wanted to put that out
thank
there.
you, thank you.
So,
Well, we have a mutual friend, Dale Kaczmarek, who I actually learned from even online.
Yes.
So, yeah, he's
I
like
learned from him.
my silent mentor. You
yes. Yeah.
But-
He's a huge mentor of mine as well.
know? Yeah.
He's a great guy. I got a chance to meet him at a conference and sat and had dinner with
Yeah.
him, and he's really, truly amazing.
Yeah,
so.
he is.
But look at this, technology bringing us together.
I
So
know.
you are our first guest by Skype.
Oh,
So,
is that
Yeah,
so?
yeah, we're starting
All
something
right.
new.
yeah, so thank you
Great.
so much for being here.
I forgot to
yes.
introduce you to Krista,
Hi, nice to meet you, Nicole.
and this is Mr. Spector.
Awesome.
Mr.
Great.
Spector, yeah,
Well, I
we'll
don't
talk
know.
about that later.
Mr. Spector, I love it.
All right, Nicole, so let's get our viewers to know a little bit about you. We've both read your book, which is amazing, on the Queen Mary, but I want to know more about you personally, and I understand that you kind of got into this whole field because of an experience with your grandmother's ghost. Can you tell us a little
Yes.
bit about that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I've always been interested in the paranormal. I feel like I've been born into it, just an innate passion and love for the field. I attended the University of Arizona from 1997 to 2001, and my grandmother, on my mom's side, so my maternal grandmother, she passed away of congestive heart failure. And I remember getting a call. This was my senior year at the University of Arizona. And I got a call from my mom, and she was like, Grandma passed away. And of course, I was devastated and heartbroken. So I flew out to attend her services for the weekend. One thing that my grandmother did when she was alive is she was always very protective of the family. And one little habit she had at night was to make sure that all the doors were shut, and she would go around and rattle the doorknobs to make sure that the doors were shut. So that's actually an experience that I first started having in my apartment after her passing, specifically my bedroom door and the front door. And this happened for several nights, and I just was like, after a few nights, I'm like, what's really going on here? And then one night, as I was studying for a midterm in my room, I felt this hand caress my face. And of course, it was just me in the room. And it was at that moment when I really started to connect the dots, and I really started to feel like, okay, maybe this is my grandmother. When I had the hand caress my face, it felt eerily familiar, as if it came from someone I knew and loved.
Yeah.
And then a few nights later, again, while I was doing work in my room for my classes, I noticed this out of my left peripheral vision, this glowing figure. And I looked over, and there was my grandmother, about 10 years younger. She was adorned in one of her favorite dresses that she wore. It was like a royal blue dress with white flowers. And it almost looked as though she was lit from behind, like she had a spotlight behind her. And this just didn't happen one time. It happened a few times for the next several nights. And it was at that time that I shared this with my mom, her daughter. And my mom and I, stayed apart. We decided to spend one night and talk to my grandmother. Her name was Helen Lopinto. And we finally said, Grandma, you're fine. The family's fine. You're free to go. If you're still here worrying about us, we're fine. You're free to go. And ever since then, the experience has completely stopped. Yeah, she's of spirit now, and she's moved on, and she does visit from time to time. But it was really that main experience that really motivated me to get out in the field and start investigating. And so I've worked with several teams after that, but in 2009 I founded the San Diego Paranormal Research Society. So it's been a journey. It really has.
Wow. Yeah.
That's an incredible experience.
It is incredible.
To have something that personal
Absolutely.
to happen. That's just amazing. It really is.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
And had you experienced anything like that prior to your grandmother, or was that kind of like your first introduction to the paranormal?
Oh, that's a good question. Nothing of that magnitude. The experience I had with my grandmother's spirit is something that's changed my life forever. When I was little and we lived in Las Vegas, I can remember as far back as maybe 2-3 years old, I was having experiences in our house. I remember seeing figures in our house and things like that, but nothing compared to the experience I had with Helen. So it really changed my life, and it really changed my view on spiritual nature, spirits and ghosts, or what have you.
Life after death, obviously.
Right.
Yeah,
there
that's
you go.
the big one. Yeah,
Right.
so you knew right then that life goes on,
Exactly.
The consciousness goes on.
It
Yeah,
does.
Absolutely.
and it stays. So tell us then
does.
about the team that you eventually founded because of these experiences.
Oh, great. Yes. Like I said, I've worked with other teams in the past, but I've always had a passion or a desire, I should say, to form my own team. And so in 2009, I formed the San Diego Paranormal Research Society. And we basically serve San Diego County and neighboring areas as well, but we will occasionally go up to, Orange County and LA or out of state if needed. We are a very dedicated, very devoted team. We're very professional in the way that we conduct ourselves, and we do conduct investigations at private residences, businesses, and historical locales. And my two comrades, I guess I should say, Ali Schreiber and Maria Garcia. It's just the three of us right now, but we work really well together, and that's, in my opinion, one of the foundations you really need to have for a successful team, is to really be able to collaborate and trust your teammates. Yeah, we host tours at the Rancho Buena Vista Adobe and do other fundraising events in San Diego as well. So we really do have a good time, but it's really something that we have a passion for, and we really enjoy helping people. So
That's wonderful. And obviously the Queen Mary is one of your favorite spots. And you've actually written 2 books about it now, is that right?
Well, I've written one, which is currently being sold on the ship. I'm actually basically done with my second one. That should be coming out in October, the end of October.
The end of October,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So plus you have a blog on it as well, is that right?
Right,
So-
yes, I do. I have, yeah, absolutely.
So that seems to be the main focus for you personally as far as the paranormal investigations that you're doing. We've read the book, The Haunted Queen of the Seas, that Jackie's holding it up right now.
You can see all my tab marks.
There it is. Oh my gosh, you have a lot of tab marks in there.
These are all the questions I have.
Oh yeah. I know, right?
So why did she captivate you so?
I don't know if I can really answer that question, because the ship is so beautiful. I believe that the ship has its own spirit, and all ships have a soul, but she's very mystical. And I remember about late 2005, I went on the ship for the very first time. And the first thing, when I went on A deck, which is the hotel deck. I stepped off the gangway onto the actual ship, and I remember the first thing I thought was, I have been here before. So I just feel like there's a very strong connection that I have to the Queen Mary, and I feel that, in my research, I've found that former passengers, former crew members, even people, my colleagues to this day, certain people feel this very mystical, powerful energy that the Queen Mary emits. And, I mean, she's a beautiful vessel,
Oh,
not just
absolutely.
yeah, not just for her historical significance, but just, I mean, I don't know. I can't really describe it in words. It's just something you need to go there and feel it for yourself.
And
So,
I've been a couple times. The last time I went to a conference there, and actually my husband and I were there, and we actually got upgraded to the Winston Churchill suite, which was surprising at the same
wow.
cost. Yeah, so I was really
That's
excited.
great.
But anyway, you're right. Though when we took that first step onto the ship, onto the hotel lobby section,
Yeah.
it was, and there was a lot of people, but it was,
Yeah.
and it wasn't so much mystical for me, but it was calming. Okay, it was
Right.
very
Oh, yes.
calm. It was, even though there was a lot of people standing around talking, whatever. It was just very, it was very serene. I mean, you just walked
That's
in and you just felt
interesting.
calm and serene. It wasn't so much mystical for me, but that's me.
Yeah.
No, one of the
Right.
things that I loved about your first book on her is that you go over the historical side of the ship, and I mean from the very beginning and all the
Oh,
way
yeah.
up to to current. So you had mentioned how people that worked on her and had been on her in the past, or who had never been on her, and that there was just this connection. And I like that you touched on that, as well as some of the paranormal experiences. But I understand that your next book on her is all about the paranormal experiences. Is that correct?
Yes, and my main purpose, like in writing the book, I don't want to just write, okay, here's the Queen Mary and she's haunted and leave it at that.
Right.
My attempt with this next book is, yes, to delve more into the ship's spiritual side, and the types of paranormal activity that occur in her various areas, but also to bridge the people of her past with the people of her present. And by talking about these paranormal experiences and certain spirits that are on the ship, it's my way, by talking about them, to help connect the people of her past with the people of the present. So that's kind of my purpose. So I'm hoping that it's, when people read it, that they get that, because that's my main purpose of writing the book.
So there is no doubt in your mind that she's haunted.
This is a good question. I feel that, certain places that have paranormal activity are not necessarily haunted.
Correct.
But that places that are haunted obviously have paranormal
Correct.
activity. I would say, yes, my definition for a place to be haunted is that the spirits or energy there has to have a connection to the location.
Right, and it has to
And
be
it sure-
consistent. Yeah, right.
Right,
And I agree with
exactly.
you. There is a difference between the paranormal activity and place being haunted. I agree
Right.
wholeheartedly, because you can have one without other, but you can't have being haunted without that paranormal activity. But for me, there has to be that emotional connection there for the haunted status to be
Right.
labeled on a place. There has to be that emotional connection. But so,
Absolutely.
what is your theory on why it's haunted?
Oh boy, I think that there's not just one. I do think that there's this underlying elusive theory for why she's haunted that maybe we won't figure out, or maybe we won't know until we're obviously passed on. But I mean, history is number one. The ship has seen tragedy, it's seen death, it's seen euphoria, it's seen happiness, it's seen luxury. So, I mean, she's had thousands upon thousands of people from all walks of life, travel on her, even during the World War II days, up to the amount of 16,683 people at one time on the vessel during World War II. So, I mean, just history alone is a foundation for her paranormal events. But then you have other theories like another theory I have is the psychokinetic energy. So many visitors coming onto the ship every day, and a lot of them want to experience her haunted or her paranormal events, so they're putting that out there. Other theories, she sits in a body of water. Water, as we know, can be a conductor
Right.
for obviously electricity and possibly paranormal activity. And she has certain elements. For example, another theory I have is she has 56 different varieties of wood. inside the liner. So, these pieces of wood came from all over the world. So, where did they come from? What energies attached to the wood? And the same with in the former first and third class pool, you have the quartzite mother of pearl ceiling. So that can, as we know, retain some energy as well. So, I think there's just many different theories that can possibly explain why she's active. So,
Well,
yeah.
and you bring up a good point about the psychokinetic energy, because there are hundreds of historical ships still roaming the seas, and yet they're not haunted. So there's got to be some kind of other added element that the Mary has that these other historical ships do not. So you might be on the right track there. It might be because of the psychokinetic energy.
I agree.
Right.
I think that the intent of the people that visit the ship definitely bring an energy with them that stays. So I really like that you brought that up, the psychokinetic. So absolutely.
And she may have her own spiritual, just the ship itself, I think, is spiritual in nature. So maybe that as well adds a component there too. So.
Yeah. Before we get into looking at the evidence, I had one last question. In the book, in your book, you better be careful. You better be real careful because, like you said, I have tons of questions, but I know we don't have time to get to them all. Okay. In your book, you mentioned that there are various places on the ship with activity, and of course, we read all of them. Is there a place, in your opinion, that there is more activity and hauntedness, to coin be silly or something, but that is consistent in one particular place?
Absolutely. There's a few on the ship. I feel like any part on the ship is fair game when it comes to experiencing something spiritual. But I would have to say, I'm going to go with the former first and third class pool. It is actually, people are like, what, third class? Well, the reason it was labeled first and third class pool is because when jet travel became really popular, first class passengers chose to travel by air as opposed to sea. So then the pool, the first class pool opened up to the third class passengers, and the second class passengers on the ship had its own pool. So that explains that. But the pool, yes, has consistent types of activity. Most recently, we're seeing a lot of shadow figure phenomena going on there. There are some intelligent spirits that reside in the pool area. One, probably perhaps the most famous spirit on board is Jackie.
Correct.
The little girl. She's just continuously interacting with guests, and I fortunately have been able to develop a really good rapport with her over the years. So I would say the pool. Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are other areas too, like the engine room and the forward cargo hold and some of the boiler rooms and those areas. But the pool is a real.
And most of those you can see on the tours, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
It depends on which ones you go on, but yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. We know you brought some evidence. And I would say I was blown away. So
oh, great.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of photos we want to show, and we're going to be talking about this as we have them on the screen. But
Sure.
I want to let the audience know, and you know that I did enhance them. I lightened them up a little bit just for our TV audience, because when they're too dark, sometimes it's not actually very viewable. So on TV.
But that was it. It was just lightening and no other editing done.
I didn't do any other editing. And I think the first one we've got is in the pool area that we mentioned. So if we could show that photo, there we go. Go ahead and set this up for us, Nick.
Okay, perfect. Well, this actually is a photo that was submitted by a guest. Her name is Rachel Ashleman, and I believe she lives up in the Thousand Oaks area. She submitted this, and this picture caught my eye because, as you know, as I mentioned, there are a lot of shadow figure anomalies in the pool area. And this figure that you see on the stairs, that's really matches many of the figures that I've seen with my own eyes.
Okay.
That's number one. Number two, on those stairs, that's where a lot of the figures are seen, as well as on the upper port side level of the pool. So yes, I mean, I in my opinion believe this is an authentic ghost photograph. So
That's an amazing
It's amazing
capture.
picture.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, this is fairly common in this area. Fairly
yes,
common. A lot
yes,
of people see these shadow
absolutely.
figures. Yeah.
Yes.
So that is amazing. It was so clear. So
Yeah,
clear.
it just matches what I've seen with my own eyes. So that's
Yeah.
really what makes me think, okay,
Yeah.
this is
And you can tell it's
authentic.
not a person.
Right.
You can tell
Right.
it's not
Oh,
a
yeah.
person.
Absolutely.
Okay, the second one that we're going to show is on B deck. So here we go.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
This was, I believe, yes, on B deck. And I believe I was facing forward. And so I snapped a few photos, obviously, of the area. And when I reviewed them, I saw this odd figure. And so my before picture and my after photograph didn't have this. And there was no one standing at the end of the hall when I took this photograph. I am 150% sure of that. So you see this shadowy anomaly there, and I really don't have an explanation for that.
Right.
So there you have it. So,
Nick, was there a second shot did you take with that?
well, I took like a series of 3 or 4
Okay.
photographs of that same
Okay.
area, and so the photograph you just showed was the only picture
Okay.
that showed that anomaly. Yeah.
Okay, good. I always ask people that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always take a series of like at least 3.
Well,
just for
and we're
sure.
supposed to, but you'd be
Right.
surprised.
Right.
Well, I guess you wouldn't be surprised how many don't.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We did. You sent me 6 EVP electronic recordings. I've picked 4. Was it 4? 1, 2,
5.
3, 5. You sent me 7.
Oh,
There were
wow.
2 that I didn't
Oh.
use, but I want to
Okay,
play
that's
all
fine.
5 of these. And let's see. Can we start with the EVP one? So.
Down here so bad.
So we got that on repeat for you guys, and what you're hearing is a child's laughter.
Right. That
Right.
we're assuming that's Jackie, because it's in the pool
I
area.
believe, after spending years in that pool area, she has a distinct voice, and you can start recognizing when it's her. And yes, I do believe this is little Jackie laughing. Of course, this is an EVP. I didn't hear it at the time. And there you have it.
And she
So,
does it a lot, from what I understand, from some of the comments
does.
I hear from other people and the things I put
Yep.
read in your book. She does. She giggles and laughs all the time, and she likes to play.
She's,
Yeah, she likes.
She
to play.
really does. She's the sweetest little spirit. I'm telling you, she's
Yeah.
so cute.
Yeah. All right. Can we play the next one, please?
What are you going to perform tonight?
Magic.
What are you getting ready for? What are you going to perform tonight?
Magic.
What are you getting ready for?
Magic. Magic. Magic.
I
So-
want to.
That is so clear. I mean,
Well,
that is so
Class
clear.
A. It's a Class A. It's a spirit in its own normal voice. It's a male. You don't need headphones to hear it.
Right.
You don't need. All you probably need to do is turn up
Right.
the volume a little bit, and that's about it.
Right. So you're asking,
Yeah.
what are you going to do tonight? He says magic. I mean, it's just
Right.
it's amazing.
And I have a Class A too, and of course it's my pride and joy. So obviously, when I heard this, I just went, holy moly! I haven't heard anything
That's
as
how I
clear.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I heard it, I'm like, oh my goodness.
Now you were in the
Yeah.
Lincoln Theater.
I was in the Lincoln Theater. We were actually at Troy Taylor's Haunted America conference that he has there. It's an annual event there. And I was with the Ghost Research Society, and former members Nicole Tito and Lisa Crick and I were down in the dressing area, and we were doing an EVP session. And it was just us 3 girls down there, and even outside, there was no one down there. It was really late at night. And we didn't hear this at the time, but what's interesting is Lisa didn't capture this, but Nicole and I did.
Oh.
And a little interesting fact is that Houdini used to perform there. Whether this is him or not, I don't know, but just a little interesting fact. So,
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
exciting. I was blown away too. I'm like, my goodness.
Why do you think
Yeah.
2 recorders caught it and the third one didn't?
I don't know. I really don't know. And
Do you
it's
know-
just
what
that
type of recorder was she using? Do you know?
she was using a similar digital, and there were no analogs, just digital recorder. I mean, maybe she had it on possibly voice activation mode and we didn't. I mean, I have no idea, honestly. Yeah. It's a
Interesting.
good question.
I have one Class A as well, and it's my baby.
Oh,
My
great.
baby.
I'll listen
All
to
right.
it.
Can we have EVP3, please?
What's your mom's name?
Oh my goodness. Are we sure that there's not anyone up here?
Mommy?
Oh my goodness.
You very clearly hear them say mommy, and it sounded
Right.
like the people in the room actually heard it themselves, because they kind of, were they reacting to
Somebody
it?
said mommy? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the actual, and what this actually is, this was captured on the Berkeley ferry boat, which is part of the San Diego Maritime Museum, and it was during the Maritime Ghost Conference. And so we had different groups investigating the Star of India and then the Berkeley. So I was down in the boiler area of the Berkeley along with Pacific Paranormal Investigations, and we heard a little girl, or what sounded like a little girl, up in the upper deck. So two of us went up to check, and there weren't any people on board except us. So this is something that we actually heard. So I would classify this more as a disembodied voice, not necessarily an EVP. Yeah, and it was really interesting. You actually hear me react and say, "Oh my goodness," after, which I shouldn't have done, because I could have ruined, other potential anomalies that could have come through. But it was really, really, it really kind of got us going, at like 3 a.m.
Sure.
So it
Oh,
was,
I can imagine. And the
Well,
fact that you heard it while there, I think that the fact that you responded to it, to me is a good thing, because
yeah,
knowing that you actually heard it in real time and you caught it
Exactly.
on the recording is just amazing.
Yeah.
absolutely.
And I should, for our viewers, I should mention EVP. We keep throwing out that EVP, those initials, and then what that means is electronic voice phenomena. I know we explained it before, but this is supposed voice, disembodied voices that we pick up on our electronic equipment. That's why they call it electronic voice phenomena. But anyway, can we play the next one, the EVP4, please?
Ashes, ashes, we all fall. Roses, ashes, ashes, we all fall. Ashes, ashes, we all fall. Ashes, ashes, we all fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't even miss a beat. I mean,
Yeah. When I reviewed my audio and I heard this, I literally jumped out of my chair. I'm like, what? This is too good to be true. But, I'm very meticulous like you are with audio, and this was during a controlled investigation. It was just like 3 or 4 people in the pool, and we didn't hear this at the time. But this, again, was on the Queen Mary in the former first and third class pool. And a lot of investigators like to sing like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, Ring Around the Rosie, London Bridges, and other children's songs, vintage and popular or new children's songs in that area. And yeah, there you have it. So I don't know. It's one of those shockers. But,
I've heard it first when you said it to me, and I just started laughing.
Right?
How cute! It was just cute.
If any place is going to produce that, it's going to be the Queen Mary, just because, it shocked me too.
that one, I love that one.
Yeah.
That is really some incredible evidence that you've managed to collect over the years. It's really just amazing. Thank you
It's
for sharing it with
shocking,
us.
yeah.
So, Nicole, you're an author, you're an investigator, you are a teacher, you are a lecturer, and a media consultant. What do you do in your spare time?
I love spending time. I'm a cat lady, I'll admit it. I love spending time with my 5 kitties. And
There is nothing wrong with that.
I love, traveling and like urban exploring and, sleeping. From time to time, I love writing and all that. And, I love speaking about the paranormal, but it's not something like I do consistently. So I do have time here and there, obviously, like we all do. So.
Right.
Well, you were
But,
going to
yeah.
school. Didn't you go back to school?
Yeah, well, I my specialty is school counseling, and
Right.
right now I'm teaching, but I was debating whether or not to go back to school for nursing. And it's still something and I did go back for a semester, and I'm like, I kind of took some time off because I'm really not sure if that's really what I want to do,
Right.
if I want to stay in
Right.
teaching or go nursing. So I'm kind of in limbo mode here, but right now I'm teaching with a local school district. So yeah, it's fun, keeps me busy.
Good. So what's up next for you? You have the book coming out in October. What's your next project after that?
Well, I just got an email today that one of my book proposals was accepted by Schiffer. So,
Wow,
Schiffer
congratulations.
Publishing. So it came, and I like, I love writing, and it's such a passion, and it came, and I literally started crying before the show, and I'm like, oh my gosh, my eyes. So I'll be working on that, and then investigating with the team, and I'll be speaking at the Port Gamble Ghost Conference up in Port Gamble, Washington. I've never been there before, but I
haven't
hear
either.
that it's an amazing town. So I'll be doing that and just enjoying life, I guess.
So you have no spare time, right? You have no spare time whatsoever.
Very little.
Not too much, not too much. I make time for it. I really do.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you're gonna come up. You're gonna come up in December. So you're gonna come up if you're in this area. You're gonna call me, right?
Absolutely. I would love to come up and go on your tours and even take one of your classes. I think that would be amazing. So,
Good, good.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to see. I just want to go out and hang out and have a few drinks.
let's do it. Yeah, I have off.
You know,
Yeah, I have off. Yeah, let's do it.
the
Just
three
go
of
and have
us.
some
The three of us.
margaritas.
Just go out and
Let's
hang
do
out.
it.
We're always ready for a drink.
Yeah, we'll schedule it. Absolutely.
Well, yeah. I will contact you after the show. But anyway, just to let everybody know, there are special tours on the Queen Mary that are educational, scary, and fun. So you can check them out at the www.queenmary.com. And while you're there, pick up a copy of Nicole's book. Or go to her websites, and we'll put those on the screen for you, so you'll can look those up, and then just buy her book online and have it delivered.
Oh, this was a lot of fun.
I could go on. I could go on. I wish we had
too.
more time, but I could go on.
Too.
So, thank you
When we
so
get
much,
together.
dear. It's been a pleasure. I'm so glad you
Oh,
decided to
thank you.
be on our show, and glad things worked out via Skype.
Yes,
So-
yes. Thank you for joining us.
Of course, I still haven't looked at it in post production. So, we'll keep my fingers crossed that everything worked out all right.
I know, me too. Right. Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to hanging out with you guys in December.
Yeah,
I
and,
think it'll
and
be a
you're going to
fun
check on
trip.
that thing we talked about yesterday, right? About your contact.
Absolutely.
Oh, good.
You know it. I'll be on it. Absolutely.
Look at this,
I'll
Jackie.
check in the next
I'm
year.
excited.
Jackie's always working an angle. She's always working an angle.
Goodbye, dear. Love
Bye.
you.
Thank you again.
Bye-bye. Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh my God, that was fun.
That
I could have
was.
talked longer. I could have, and even now I'm probably going to have to cut some of that out just to fit in our hour time frame. But I could have talked longer.
Yeah, Nicole was going to join us here in the studio, and there was just some things that didn't work out, so we decided to try Skype. And I think it's a good thing because this is really going to open up the world of interviews for us.
Yeah, and you're right, because I mean, it was getting a little difficult to schedule people to come to Fresno, even if those that lived in California.
Right.
So it was getting a little difficult, and there were and then the subjects that we wanted to cover, we couldn't because there was nobody here on the West Coast that were experts.
Exactly. Like we've had tons of topics kind of, sitting in the back burner because we couldn't find a local speaker about them.
Right.
So I hope that you guys enjoyed that and that it comes out okay because we're going to keep doing it.
Yeah, I don't want to take away from the show, and I know other people do Skype and everything, and I know it's convenient, but if I have my druthers, I'd rather have the person here in the studio.
Absolutely.
So
I agree.
But
this is such a great alternative,
yes,
I think. So I'm glad for it.
You're in. All right. All right. We've got a message for Bigfoot. Move over, big guy. You're being upstaged by Lizard Man. Yeah, you heard that right. The fabled cryptid of Scape or Swamp near Bishopville, South Carolina is home to a swamp creature known as Lizard Man. This reptilian humanoid is described as 7 feet tall, red eyes, a long kangaroo-like tail, and a snub-nosed face. Sarah Barra says she went to church, and as she stepped out of the sanctuary, saw Lizard Man running along the tree line. So she did what anyone else would do. She took a picture with her cell phone. She swears, "My hand to God, I am not making this up." She says they were just a mile or so from Scape Ore Swamp, the site of a similar spotting in May of what may also be the Lizard Man. Scape Ore Swamp is the area where most of the Lizard Man sightings over the last 30 years have been focused, starting in the summer of 1988. But for a decade, there were no sightings reported until now, possibly creating yet another ripple in the swampy waters around Bishopville. Yeah, that's surprising. He starts in 1988, and it started with a kid, a 17-year-old kid named Davis, and at first was called like the Davis sighting. So, he was changing a flat tire, saw something come out of the tree line, the forest,
Right.
and scared the
Put Jesus out of it.
Yeah. So, and then it went on to several sightings. Couple, senior citizen couple saw some, and then for 10 years, there's nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
And then all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, I'm personally not very convinced.
Well,
that photo. Okay, let's go back to that photo for a second here. Really?
Yeah, really. Okay, but there is an uncanny likeness to a Gorn. Now, you know what a Gorn is, right?
I do know what a Gorn is. I do.
Star Trek Episode 1, called The Arena, is Captain Kirk fights a Gorn. Can we see that picture? Now, see? Now,
yeah.
Except for the clothes, and it's about, I don't know how many centuries later, but you can see the resemblance between the picture we showed you just a little bit ago and this picture here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That first photo, to me, it just seems obvious that it was a costume. But,
Well, yeah. They must have got it. See, there it is.
There it is.
Yeah, so,
Come on now.
look, they could be twins.
They could be twins.
Yeah, they could be
They
twins.
could be twins.
So much for Lizard Man.
Yeah.
The big guy, I don't think you have a whole lot to worry about, but, that's what's been trending in the news lately is this Lizard Man. So.
Exactly. Well, and even everyone seems to be picking on poor Bigfoot lately, including you, and even Zippy. Okay, Zippy, good old Zippy. So a man says that he was enjoying time in North Carolina mountains when he saw Sasquatch. So we got a Bigfoot sighting. Eric Walters was renting a cabin with his family near Asheville and was told that there was some bear activity in the area, so to be cautious. Now, it was during one of his walks that Walters thought he saw a bear and started filming on his cell phone, these darn cell phones.
I hate them.
I know. But he quickly realized that it was not a bear, but Bigfoot. Well, one Zippy to the rescue. Let's take a look at the cell phone video and you'll see what I have to say here.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. No, Ziggy. No. Oh, thank you, Ziggy. He scared it away. Oh, thank you, Ziggy. He scared it away.
Apparently, Zippy got so riled up that he got loose and took off after it. Walter calls Zippy a brave little guy who chased the Sasquatch away and saved him from a possible encounter. Walter says that Yorkies are small in size but have a bigger heart than even a Bigfoot. I love him more than ever. Well,
look, what's not to love?
He is cute.
He is a cutie.
He is so cute.
He is a cutie.
Okay, but seriously, yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to do a public service announcement right now. If you have a cell phone and you happen to have it and you're quick enough to get it to your video and you start taking video of something that is just amazing like that, don't take the darn camera off the object. Why would you put the camera on the dog? I mean, come on, people.
Well, Zippy wasn't afraid.
Well, I think Zippy was afraid because, you know, the supposed Sasquatch was over here and Zippy went this way. So I don't think he was quite as brave as his owner tried to make him out to be. But after uploading and sharing this video, Walters has asked people to keep an open mind. Either there's a Sasquatch out there or someone is trying to play a practical joke. Now, whether that was somebody in the costume trying to play a practical joke or whether it was Walters playing a joke, I don't know. That was quite the montage he put together, though, wouldn't you say, that video?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah, I know. He was shy about it.
I'm done. Enough.
Okay, and now we have reached our favorite part of the show.
Dun, da,
Dun, da-da. Even Mr. Spector likes this part of the show.
Oh, wait. I have to intercede. Marlene, during one of our little breaks that we had to take, Marlene came up with a new name for Mr. Spector.
What?
Chester Bukowski.
What? Where does that come from?
She said, just call me Boo or Chet.
Chet. I like Chet.
Chet. Okay, so Chet it is. All right. We're still open to suggestions.
I want to know more about this Chester Bukowski. I want to be somebody from your past, Marlene.
All right, sorry, I got us off topic. Anyway, dun dun dun. Back on focus.
Back up, and we're here for As the Paranormal World Turns.
My favorite part of the show.
Okay. Now, this one has to be worded very carefully, okay? There's a website out there called moron.com, and they deal mostly with dumb criminals and social media idiots on their website. Well, they posted this story, and it's so damn bizarre, we had to share it under our As the Paranormal World Turns segment. Okay. I can't
even keep a straight face right now.
I know. It's really
okay,
hard.
I'm sorry.
Okay. A Belfair, Washington resident, Nancy Hoggart, told Bigfoot Tracker that she and the famous Bigfoot have been in a intimate relationship.
A sexual relationship. Just say it.
Since 2000, we're still on our family show. Since 2008, and are trying to start a family. I'm sorry. Okay, she claims that Bigfoot lives in Mason County, Washington, and that she first encountered the beast while tending to her marijuana garden.
It just gets better, folks.
It just gets better. Oh, apparently he was standing there eating all her buds off the plants, and she wanted to run because he was pretty scary looking, and she didn't want him to eat all the plants. So that's how she made a living.
Right.
I mean, Hoggart went on to say, she said, I pointed a shotgun at him, and he put up his hands. That's what I noticed. He had a huge anatomical formation between his legs.
These are her words.
Yeah.
This is a quote.
Okay. She actually put it a little cruder.
Oh, did she?
I softened it up a little for TV.
Okay.
Okay. She went on to say it had been a while for her, but from that point, it turned into an adult movie. I can't repeat the rest of her description, but and I'll do it privately if you want me to. Just email me.
Or just go to moron.com and read it yourself.
Yeah. But let's just say she felt great afterwards and says that the relationship has blossomed from intimate partners to deep love. Okay. Hoggart describes him as sweet and caring, brings her flowers and mushrooms, and holds her while they stargaze together.
True love.
Of course, the big question here is, will she reveal Bigfoot to the public? Nah, she says. Government scientists will just take and dissect him or try to turn him into a soldier to fight ISIS or something. You know how the government is. But she did say she will sell pictures and and samples of Bigfoot's fur through the website she plans to set up. Since marijuana is now legal in Washington State, Hoggart says she doesn't have any income anymore, so capitalizing on her boyfriend's fame is how she plans to make money.
Oh, I don't even know where to start with this one. It's just so full of awful.
I
Okay.
mean, you look at her picture and she looks like a really nice lady and all there and everything.
But apparently not.
Well, I mean, who's to say?
That's true. Who's to say?
I mean, it could be a man in a Bigfoot suit
I mean,
fooling her. You know? That's all I can think of. You know, it could be a man in a Bigfoot outfit, just putting one over on her. Who
Well,
knows,
in the full interview that she gave, she says that he doesn't speak English,
right.
so that their communication is pretty much verbally non-existent, but that he's learned how to sort of pronounce her name.
Right.
And, I don't know what else to say. I got nothing. I got nothing else.
Well, it's bizarre. It is bizarre. I'm sorry.
Right.
It is bizarre. The whole story is bizarre. And I don't know whether she's making up, whether she actually believes this, whether there's somebody out there really dressing up as Bigfoot and promoting this hoax on
Right,
her.
right.
You know, I mean, that's very possible too.
Yeah, because
So-
she very well could be the victim in this.
Sure,
you know.
absolutely. Although,
But there's a lot of other strange things. I mean, so now she's saying she doesn't have any income because marijuana is legal. It's like now would be the time that you can actually sell it legally. You
Well,
know, I mean, so there's a little bit of, it makes me question her credibility a bit
yeah,
there.
I mean, she's outing herself because she's selling it while it was illegal, and that's how she was making her money. But now that it's
Right.
legal, everybody's got it, so she can't sell it anymore.
Good
you know?
point,
So
good
that's,
point.
I think that's what she was trying to get at. But anyway, all right.
Okay.
What's next?
That's it. We're done.
Are we done?
We are done.
Oh God.
All right. Thank you, everyone, so much for being with us once again. We're going to wrap it after that. I'm done. I got nothing else. So that wraps it up. If you want to see what CCPI is up to, you can check out their website and calendar at ccpifresno.org and on Facebook, CCPI Fresno. You do have it on Facebook, right? I just
I think that story really got
that last story made me
shook
so
her up.
dumb that
Really shook her up. And Chet over here says goodbye. And
If you want to see what I'm up to, go to sacredlightreiki.com. Find me on Facebook too.
and ccpifresno.org.
Thank you.
is-
Did I say .com?
I think you said .com. I'm
I
not
meant
sure.
.org. You
I'm
guys
not
know
sure.
that, right? You watch the show. We're on every month, same time, same channel. You know where to find us, and we'll see you back next time on our next show when we talk more about paranormal topics.
And catch us on our Facebook page.
Yes, absolutely. We hope
So-
that you've enjoyed this show. If you have any questions or comments, you want to see what's coming up next, to watch past shows, check out our Facebook page, and that's at facebook.com/paranormal journeys. And if you like what you've seen so far, don't forget to give us a like and send us comments, emails, whatever you need. Anyway, that's going to be it. We're done. We're done. Take care.
This is actually water. And be safe.
I wish it wasn't.